Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Hello and welcome back to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Wisecup, and joining me today is my co-host who could organize a charity gala and still have time to color code the seating chart. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And rounding out our lineup is the person you draft first for any team. It's Hillary Walterman.
Oh, thanks, Tyler. Hey.
Of course. Today, we're talking with someone whose work lives at the intersection of sports and leadership and real community change. She's the vice president of social responsibility for the Dallas Wings and partner City Lacrosse Club, and the executive director of both teams' foundations. LaDondra Wilson, that's the crazy way to start an introduction and the titles, but thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It is a super long title, so I'm glad you didn't get tongue-tied.
I had to practice a little bit, but we're so excited to talk to you about like leadership, about equity, about service, and what it means to use the platform of sports to make some real life impact. Really excited to get into this with you. But first, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast, and that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. And you can learn more at nfm.com. So LaDondra, your career, it sits at this incredible intersection of sports and philanthropy and leadership and advocacy. I'm really excited to get into your story. I understand that you grew up in South Oak Cliff in Dallas. When you think about where you grew up, what's like one memory that quietly shaped the leader that you are today?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I don't think I go anywhere without sharing exactly where I'm from. And that's because it is an urban community, a marginalized community, in fact. And so there's so many negative stigmas about South Oak Cliff, but so many great things and great people come from it. And I just always remember having such an amazing, really close-knit family and friendship group, and there was not a lot to do, so we made things to do. It became just, again, everyone was family. So I just love being from that community and seeing how much it's thrived and grown since my childhood.
Yeah. Is there somebody, I know that like the kind of work that you're doing just feels so specific, and I have to imagine there was something that like sparked that drive and desire for you, because it feels like you've been doing this like your whole life based on what I could find out on online research anyway. Was there like a moment where you're like, I need to help people?
Yeah, well, again, I think it goes back to my roots coming from a marginalized community. I jokingly tell people I did not realize our family, that we were considered the working poor until I went to college, because again, probably all of us had the same resources. But I actually went to school to be a nurse initially. I'm first generation college, and everyone would just say, just go to school and get in the medical field. You'll get a job. I'm like, okay, great. And all I knew that I wanted to do was to help people, and I knew nurses were helpers.
Yeah.
But I had pre-nursing major, and I think it was the first lab when I realized that there would be bodily fluids involved, and I jumped ship. But still passionate about helping people. I had social work as an elective, had no idea that was a career path. But what I remember from my childhood, being in a marginalized community, that a lot of the resources that we received, a lot of the individuals that supported us in providing those resources were what I later learned, social workers or program managers, community leaders. And so that, again, is, I think, when I put the puzzle pieces together and said, oh, wow, this is something that I can do forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so cool. The social impact stuff, I know like that was probably once you started your working career, that's where you lived. But then like the sports thing started to happen. When did it click that was going to be an area that you would like start to venture into?
Yeah.
Was that something from childhood too, or was that just like an opportunity that came?
Yeah, so it was not on my bingo card. Still can't believe it. You guys cannot tell this, but I'm a smooth 5 foot even. I will never be on the basketball court unless I'm dodging the ball. But I am an avid sports fan. All of our home teams, yes, even the obnoxious Cowboys fan that understands we'll be at Super Bowl anytime now. But so I've always been a sports fan, and I always knew that there were individuals that worked in philanthropy and sports, but I just had not connected the two for myself. And so I always say I have a jigsaw puzzle of a career. I've done traditional social work, leadership development, and now sports philanthropy. But this was a role that was introduced to me, and really excited that I'm able to do it. I mean, women empowerment, some great basketball, and helping make an impact using sports as a vehicle. I mean, it's just the perfect recipe.
I would say so. And it seems like a dream job to be like connected to all those things, and to be like, sports is just fun. And then you've got the part of where you're helping people. It just feels like it ties so many of those things together in such a neat way.
Yeah.
What's a behind the scenes part of sports philanthropy that people might not know about?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is, if you're a sports fan, being able to actually see the behind the scenes, the everyday, and that I realized, oh my gosh, I'm not just going to get to show up to these games at 7:00 and get my popcorn and have a seat and enjoy. But this is a full production that happens days, before for one game. But the biggest part that I think is important, specifically in my role, is working directly with the athletes and helping. What I like to tell them is creating a legacy off of the court. And so we'll always remember their stats, but what else do you want to be remembered for? And so being able to use sports as a vehicle, specifically with the players, has been the highlight of my career.
Has there been like a specific moment from and I love that phrasing of like creating a legacy off the court. Has there been like a specific moment where like that you saw the light go off for one of the athletes that you were working with? Yeah,
well, again, you got to think about just the vision of these ladies. Most are 6 foot and up, 5 foot up. Always like looking up, like, listen, let me tell you something. Sometimes I'm like, girl, sit down. But in complete transparency, and this is for all sports, players have in their contracts a certain amount, not even a certain amount, but an obligation to make what they just simply call appearances. But that typically is activated through the community relations, community engagement, social responsibility, all the names you can call it. But the way I like to approach it is, this is not an obligation. I do sometimes tell them they do have a responsibility to use their platform for good, but we approach it in a different way here with the Wings, is that I like to call it matchmaking. But during training camp, we do have surveys and we have information gathering opportunities in which we learn what they're passionate about, absolutely what things are like don't care about, and then what are things that they would like to see themselves engaged in. And then obviously we have a foundation that has pillars and focus areas, and I like to call it matchmaking. Is like the funnest thing. And so I think they get to understand that this is not just a check the box. And literally, I think the aha moments for me is not just one specific athlete, but it's when they're calling or contacting me to say, when is the next event? Or, hey, I have this idea. Or have you learned about this organization?
Yeah.
So when they're doing my job for me, I've done something right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
That's so smart, because I think it's really overwhelming to decide where you want to start if you're looking to give back. Like, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and sometimes like I find myself with decision fatigue sometimes. So smart to dig into interests and passions and then find the match, because that's what keeps you going back, that moment that really fills your bucket. If it's related to something you've experienced yourself or within your family, that's the hook that gets people in and where they stay committed.
Absolutely.
That's so smart.
LaDondra, you one of the things that really jumped out to me was you've been recognized with a bunch of major awards. You serve on all sorts of boards. Was there ever a moment when leadership at this level just felt really overwhelming or uncertain?
No, I think similar to tiring maybe, but similar to the players, I believe I have a responsibility to pay it forward and to give back. Again, coming from very humble beginnings, I do have this concept: if you can see her, you can be her. My passion is really working with young ladies, and especially those that look like me. But I think that is where sometimes the hope or belief that you can achieve is because you just don't know what's out there. And so I have dedicated my life and my career to ensuring that I can, one, pay it forward, but that I'm doing the work that I believe and speak so wholeheartedly about. So it does require a lot of extra time. Sometimes it's not what I do in my 9 to 5. It's definitely the 5 to 9. But it is extremely, again, I get to do this work as something that I'm passionate about. So it really doesn't feel like work most times.
Yeah, that's the key. Isn't that what Warren Buffett always says? Like, you've never worked a day in your life if you love what you do.
Absolutely.
100%.
Doesn't feel like that, though.
I think that it's funny that you say that, because I totally agree. I think that, like, sometimes you get into something and you can love it, but it still doesn't mean that it isn't hard. And I think it's good for us to recognize that and to call that out too, that, that there is this idea that, like, if you love it, it shouldn't be, it doesn't mean that it isn't easy. So I don't know. Thanks for calling that out.
Yeah.
But it also still takes like your mental like energy and your time.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So one thing that I caught on your LinkedIn was this like midweek mirror post that you've been doing, where you're talking about the unseen work that creates like these visible results. What did your unseen work season like actually look like before the recognition started showing up for you?
Yeah, well, I always say, the recognitions are super cool. And I can't believe the amount of designs and creativity they get with these awards these days. And so it definitely feels great. And it's not anything that I'm opposed to. But I think that even with the awards, most times you don't really understand probably the work. And honestly, it's something that I don't tangibly see. It's actually the impact. It's the person's life that's been changed. It's the young girl saying that now she believes, or, oh my gosh, I didn't know that job existed. So I'm more of a lived experience type person that mostly doesn't translate to the awards and recognitions. Again, although nice and very much appreciated. But I think that it's really just the entire journey. It's very unorthodox, frankly, to have someone come from social work. And I'm really advocating for this, that I'm not the only social worker in the WNBA. I don't believe that I am in sports, but that I think that a lot of times, we just have this linear idea of our careers. And I think the unseen work for me is just this, again, I call it jigsaw puzzle of a career, where now finally all the pieces are connected.
Yeah, makes sense. So I'd love to talk a little bit more about, the specific work that you're doing. Like you're a vocal advocate for equity and access. I think you've talked about some of these things already, especially for young women and Black girls in sports careers. Like, when did that responsibility start to feel personal to you? Was it just something from the very beginning and you just knew that I had to like give this much more, or was it something that developed over time?
Yeah, I think it's just a core value of mine, equity and inclusivity. I believe that, everyone should have the opportunity. Obviously, everyone should be skilled at whatever it is that they're pursuing to have those opportunities. But there are just so many disparities in not just in race, but in gender. Frankly, even in age, I most times have been the youngest person in leadership in roles that I've had in organizations that I've been in. And so, again, I think it comes to me wanting to be what I didn't have as a younger person. And so that's in any role, regardless, or industry, regardless of sports. It's just always been something that for me, an organization, for me to be aligned with them, have to have the values of inclusivity and equity. And sometimes that looks different. And so being in a role in which I can contribute to how we exercise that here at our organization has just been really great because of, again, the lived experiences that I've had.
Yeah, I love that. Like, what's a hard truth about equity or inclusion work that you wish more people understood?
Yeah, I think that there is not a blueprint for it, and there's not really a right answer. I just think that doing the right thing is the right thing, and that typically ensures that everything is inclusive. I'll just use the example now. I have an open role for our team, and typically the practice that I make as a hiring manager is to do blind applications to remove all identifying information to ensure that we're being equitable. There's no biases because as much as I consider myself an equity enthusiast, we have our unconscious biases, and we usually will go with what's comfortable with us. And I just want to ensure that I'm practicing what I preach, but definitely, again, living out the work that I do.
Yeah.
Great. That's a great example. Was that a hard thing to institute for the hiring practice for this job, or was that something that was just like, oh, it's totally easy, we'll do it?
No, this is, I think it's it is a best practice, but it removes personal biases. Here at our organization, hiring managers can decide how they want to pursue their hiring process. And to be completely transparent, sometimes because of the urgency need of the role, you just have to go with traditional hiring processes. And so it's not always exercising that way, but I do, again, in this role, I help advise our DEI initiatives, but I'm not over HR. So again, that's just how, as I'm receiving applicants, the preference.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, what a strong step forward to introduce that style of hiring. That's great that you're presented with the option. Would of course, love to see that maybe taken on more broadly, but a step in the right direction. That's certainly something to be proud of.
Thank you.
Well, LaDondra, we've got Women's History Month happening here in March. It's a time where we're celebrating achievements and reflecting on progress. When you think about the recognition that you received over the work that you're doing, or the moments where an athlete has come to you with a great story or a great cause, what responsibility do you feel to help open doors for the next generation of women?
Yeah, I use this maybe corny analogy, but it's similar to you're walking through the door and you see someone, behind you, not 3 feet, and they have to do this awkward little jog to kind of ensure that they run through the door that you left open for them. But I use that kind of same model of paying it forward. It's as simple as keeping the door open for the person that has the opportunity to travel the same journey as you. And so, again, it's about access and it's about opportunity. And so it is something that I do feel extremely obligated for. But I think it's so much underrepresentation that putting myself out there, as much as sometimes I may not want to, is just something that I don't have a problem doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if we could talk a little bit about your home life and how you wind down. We talked a little bit about the 9 to 5, 5 to 9. Sometimes those worlds bleed together, I think, in the kinds of work that you're doing. But what does home give you that nothing else can?
Oh, I really love this question because I became a homeowner for the first time last year. I closed right before Thanksgiving.
Congratulations.
I did not mean to say this, but most of my furniture came from Nebraska Furniture Mart. It's just the most easiest, convenient place and fun place to shop. And so, just creating that space again, I love what you all said. It's not just a house, it's my home, it's I'll be honest, I don't spend as much time as I'd like to there, but I am running home every time I have the opportunity. And so most recently, the project I just finished was my patio. And I was on the patio, and I think this is going to be my new wind down practice. I'm very intentional about trying to separate work from home. Doesn't happen. So now I'm more intentional about creating spaces that I enjoy and enjoying my full home. And so now, yes, the patio is my place where, yesterday, I was able to reflect on the day. And again, there's not a lot of off time, but I was also literally able to plan out my next day while enjoying a nice place in my home. So both the best worlds.
Yeah. What's the buzzy expression now? really enjoying your mortgage, getting the most out of your mortgage payment,
For sure.
Well, can you tell us about the patio space and what you did out there?
Oh my gosh. So obviously you start with the patio furniture. That's, the first part of it. So I was able to get a nice little sectional. I do like to host, enjoy having people over. I'm in a sorority, my sorority sisters and I love to fellowship. And so started with the sectional for optimal seating. But most recently I added the patio heater, which doubles as a table to be able to enjoy dinner or snacks, which again, love hosting a nice charcuterie board. Yes. And then, but this week I had the TV mounted and it has the TV shield and all the things, but above it, I have LED lights that says good vibes only. Yes.
Cool.
And then I added some greenery over the past weekend. So now it's just a little.
So this is like a recent kind of project for you.
Yeah, the TV and lights were just added on Monday.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Perfect little oasis.
Yeah.
Have you had people out? Have you had people out yet?
I've had one person. Well, my friend came over Tuesday. Like, what day is this? And we were actually going to a movie trivia night. Not seen Sinners. It's amazing. So we went to a Sinners trivia night.
Yep.
And I was so excited. We were literally, she was just coming by for us to leave. And I was like, come see my patio. I was like so proud of it, like a class project. And so she did see it. And we do have plans to have patio night.
Nice.
She's also a neighbor. She lives like 5 minutes from me.
Oh,
perfect.
I love it. Okay. Well, I was going to say, if you hadn't had anybody over yet, you need to probably, we could come over, maybe christen it for you, but, we didn't want to invite ourselves.
On the road.
Excellent.
We like that idea.
Well, is there a spot in your home other than the patio now that we've talked about that, and I definitely want to see and experience? Is there like a spot in your home or place that you decompress where you're able to just after all the work and time and energy that you're putting in, where do you find your zen?
So I'll say two places, one that I should spend more time in, but I did transform one of my bedrooms into a home gym. And so that is kind of my little place to definitely sweat out some stress probably. So that's a stressor, but I do need to be in that room more, not the door closed.
All of us, LaDondra, come on.
Right.
So that is a goal. But yes, I have literally made it. I have my treadmill, my Pilates board, squat machines, weights, all the things. And
you're decked out.
Girl, so they're like all pink and purple. And so
yeah. I mean, that makes it more fun in and of itself.
The dream.
Yeah, it makes you want to. So I but I really, this may sound weird. I love spending time in my bathroom. It is so in purchasing. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but with these new homes that are being built so quickly, they don't have garden tubs in them anymore. They have these really nice stand-up showers. But I'm like, what if I just want to relax and have like a spa type moment? And so I was very intentional with my realtor of it must have a garden tub. And so just my entire bathroom, I've made it literally like a spa. I mean, from towel warmer to just the decor is nice and soft. It's literally just black and white. I have marble floors but the garden tub would probably be my space. And it has jacuzzi vibes. And so I will be honest, that's probably where I would love to spend more time.
Fair.
My little oasis as well.
Light some candles, listen to some spa music, get some cucumbers on your eyes, and then just take a little nap. Sounds fantastic.
It does. Yes.
I love that you've got multiple spots to you don't just have one spot depending on what you've got going on. You've got options. That's so thoughtfully done.
Yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah.
LaDondra, if your leadership style was a piece of furniture, what would it be and why?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. I do not own a recliner, but I would probably say a recliner. I mean, my leadership style is that I always tell my team when they introduce me, they're like, this is my boss or I work for. I was like, we work together. I would say I have a pretty laid back leadership style. I definitely consider myself a servant leader, but I just think that everyone has leadership capacity or capabilities, whether or not they exercise them or not. And so I like to be laid back and include people in decision making and in leadership opportunities. So a nice recliner.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So clever. And then there's the lumbar support, I think, from the recliner too. And I feel it's servant leadership-y.
Yeah.
Okay. If a young woman listening wants to work in sports or leadership, like what's one thing that you wish someone had told you earlier in your career?
Oh man, I say this jokingly, but I don't know what I thought outside of my actual role, but as far as game days, I just thought we were going to show up and watch the ladies play. And that is untrue. And so I've always had non-traditional work schedules and working in a helping profession. So the crazy hours don't affect me at all, but I do think that individuals coming into sports, especially women, and I say that I don't have children, I'm unmarried, but when you start to get a family and or have other household responsibilities, there is a balancing act. Time management is extremely important, and expectations of what your schedule will look like. It likely won't be traditional anymore. We play in the summer, and I'm a summer baby, and everyone in the office knows from our president down that I celebrate the entire month. And so I had to make a really big adjustment of including birthday plans at games in July.
I love that.
You know, our friends come to the game. And so I just think that having an understanding of what your life will look like, how you will incorporate your life into what's important to you, especially if you have children or a family, is something that you should come into knowing, because it was a really big shock to me. I was like, oh my gosh, so you need me at the arena all day and I
and all 5 feet at me.
Okay. This has been so fantastic. Thanks for the opportunity to get to know you. Do you have time for, I want to try this game. We might not be able to get to everything, but I'm going to do a couple quick questions if you don't mind.
Let's
if you got
do
the
it.
time. Okay. All right. So, this game was inspired by like this idea that like you're out there helping people, communities, athletes, causes, and it feels like you're always in someone else's corner. So I wanted to flip the camera around a little bit and ask you about how well you take care of yourself. We've talked about some of the ways that you hope that you do it a little bit more. So I'm calling it dunk or denied, because self-care is like a shot attempt. Sometimes you follow through and it lands, and that's a dunk. And sometimes it gets blocked by the pressure or the responsibility or whatever it is that you've got on your plate. So I'm gonna give you some scenarios, and you just call it. You tell me like, was this a dunk or was it denied? Okay. And how well you're able to kind of do some of the self-care stuff. Ready to play?
Yes.
Makes sense? Okay. Hopefully it makes sense once we start getting into
I
it.
love this. This is great.
First question, leaving dishes in the sink and choosing rest instead. Is that a dunk or a denied situation for you?
Deny. I just can't.
You can't leave it. Yeah.
Now they may get put in the dishwasher and not hand wash, but yeah.
There you go. That's a good way to pivot away
compromise.
from it. Yeah. And it seems based on what we've learned of your personality so far, like I would be shocked if you were leaving dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
Okay. Taking real time off and not checking email. Is that dunk or denied?
Oh man, let's say I was going for the dunk and someone came in. I will say this, first vacation, I literally probably will say this is the very first vacation that I did. I take a lot of trips. Traveling is really what I love to do if I'm not at home or at work. So this past October was the first time that I literally left. Oh no, I did take my laptop, but I did not pull it out except for one time.
Wow.
And that was just because I had this really long email that I had scheduled to go out, and I noticed that there was a typo in it, and I was like, crap. And I could have done it from my phone, but I was at that point, I was like, I got to check everything. But I'm always on email during vacations, even at a swim up bar, all of the things. And I did not check my first time.
That's so freeing too, to just be like, okay, and the world 100%. Didn't burn down while I was gone, and everything's fine.
Yeah. So I'm going to duck that.
I love it. I love it. I think you deserve it.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. Celebrating your own wins instead of immediately moving to the next goal. Did you dunk that or deny that?
recently learned to dunk that. It definitely was, I'd struggled with that before. I would always be like, oh, this is great, but she did this. And I love giving others their flowers. And so I think it was most recently in November when I was awarded the Can Do Spirit Award, the iconic athlete, I don't even know what, iconic sports award. It's crazy. Yeah. It was really crazy to me. It was like a really eye opener. I've accomplished a lot of great awards that I love, and again, all the trophy designs are crazy. But this one was awarded by Visit Dallas. I'm Dallas through and through, South Oak Cliff representative, but awarded by my city. Literally, I think this was the fourth year, maybe. Wow. And the likes of St. Marshall, our player actually received this award, the very first one, Arike Agumbawale, the Neal family who owns the women's soccer team. And so I just could not fathom that I was in the likes of those individuals. But more importantly, it was because it was from an entity that represents our entire city that I love so dearly. And so that one I sat in, I enjoyed, and I was like, you go, girl.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That is worth celebrating.
Sorry about that. I do encourage others to do this, and I don't do it, but I will start in 2026 just to have what I call LOA, a list of accomplishments, because it is super
that's a good idea.
What you shared, or sometimes just to have imposter syndrome, even at high levels in your career. And so again, I share this when I'm mentoring others, and I have not yet done it. I literally have to go back and be like, okay, what did I do this year? And typically may forget something. Kind of like your brag board. And someone, and I forgot that I had shared that in a presentation, and someone tagged me on their social media and was like, thank you so much for sharing to do this. I was having such a terrible day. She's an entrepreneur. I think she had participated in a pitch or something, and, thought she had it and didn't. And she was like, but I looked back at all the things that I had recently accomplished and was like, you are killing it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I should be doing this. I will do it.
It's a really great idea, though.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, LaDondra, last question.
Yeah.
I again, appreciate the time. Last dunk denied thing. Doing something totally unproductive just because it makes you happy. Do you dunk that or deny that?
I'm dunking it recently. Thank you to the winter storm. Typically, that would have been an opportunity for me to get ahead or catch up, or just work like crazy. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I am going to be a bed bum. And I caught up on shows that were recommended by friends. I don't know. I just think that I always have to be on or productive, I would say. But I was just like, nope, not doing it. There were some days I didn't even know what day of the week it was. And that was a little bit forced, but I do think that is a practice of maybe one day a week, maybe a weekend, obviously, when there aren't any major responsibilities before the season. And just don't do anything. Or do something I want to do, but it may not be as productive as I would have wanted it to be, or on my list of things.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, LaDondra, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to call out before we wrap?
No, I would like to thank you all for this opportunity, and especially Nebraska Furniture Mark for the opportunity to participate and engage with you guys on a philanthropic level. And thank you for all the amazing things that you have for me to shop. So I'm excited. I'll be in the store soon.
Fantastic. This was so great getting to know you. And to everyone listening, remember, you can learn more about NFM and shop 24/7 at nfm.com. Until next time, here's to making your home life your best life, one story at a time.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hillary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.